We've taken the lead.
Target's in sight! I'm hurt! Headshot! Boom! Headshot!
Hey everyone, welcome back to a new Gunsmith discussion. Today we'll be going over the Chopper LMG, and I have been sleeping on it since I'm not really an LMG person, but the Chopper LMG is really good if you have the playstyle which can complement it. It's not meant for run and gun LMG, and once I go over the stats you'll see why, but the main job of LMGs is for holding an area and controlling the crowd, instead of running and gunning. This doesn't mean we have to camp, but we have to play cautiously, since mobility is not the best. In my personal experience, I really like playing range with the chopper and playing around objectives, instead of slaying and trying to spawn traps. With that being said, the chopper has a 4-shot kill damage profile till 10 meters, dealing 30 damage to the head and 25 damage to the body. With the 754 RPM fire rate, we get a really fast time to kill of 239 milliseconds in close range. However, it isn't too good because the ADS speed is atrociously slow. The base chopper takes 28 frames or 466 milliseconds to ADS. And if we were to use it for close range, we'd get killed before we can even fully ADS against some of the other guns. Thus, even though it has fast time to kill up close, it isn't practically feasible. From 11 meter onwards, the chopper does 25 damage to the head and 21 damage to the body and takes 5 shots to kill. The damage profile is consistent till 35 meters, which is the preferred range for using this gun. We get a time to kill of 318 milliseconds, which isn't too bad and will feel really consistent since the damage is the same all throughout the body. Speaking of consistent, the recoil is also the same pattern each and every time and follows a similar path. Here I have the general recoil pattern which is superimposed using 20 samples, and here's a recoil graph made by me which shows the path of the recoil, and we can see it's a consistent pattern. Thus, with some practice we can make the gun no recoil without needing any attachment for recoil control. I see the heavy handle, a unique attachment to the chopper, being used extensively in all of the builds I have seen till now, and it apparently helps with recoil control and hipfire accuracy. Thus, I put it to the test, and here I have taken the recoil sample with the heavy handle, which again is superimposed so that we can get the general pattern of recoil, and if we compare it side by side with the base recoil pattern, we'll see the difference is really minimal. According to my test, the heavy handle reduces the vertical recoil by 5% and the horizontal recoil by 2%. Thus, there is a difference, but it's negligible. The only reason to use the heavy handle is to remove the iron sights, which many people don't seem to prefer. Comparing the Hipfire though, the difference is again negligible at 6%, which does help, but it isn't much. Thus, when making a gunsmith build, I will be showing builds with both the heavy handle and without, but the chopper isn't an aggressive weapon, and instead of focusing on mobility, which if we were to make a mobility build, it would still be too slow in comparison to the SMGs and ARs, and we'd be losing the gunfights. I would suggest making it primarily for accuracy, and range increase would be a bonus, but it isn't necessary, since the 35 meter 5-shot range is good enough. For the first build, I want to show it with the heavy handle, and it gives us some recoil reduction and hipfire accuracy for not having any iron sights when ADS'd. In the game it does mention the ADS is not available, but we can ADS, just the hipfire crosshair is shown a bit zoomed in. Once we attach the heavy handle, we can't use any stocks or optics or rear grips. Thus, we only have a couple options, which makes finding a good loadout for ourselves really easy. Next, I go into the barrels, and all of them can be used, but I personally don't recommend the chopper heavy barrel. It makes the ADS speed go from 28 frames to 33 frames, which is 5 frames slower ADS speed. and also makes the movement speed go from 5.71 meters per second to 5.47 meters per second. For what we get in return, we do get accuracy at range, and damage range gets increased with the new 4-shot range being 0 to 15 meters and 16 to 51 meters for the 5-shot range, which seems like a good increase, but considering the recoil and the base bullet spread accuracy, we can't take advantage of it. The lateral recoil decrease is also next to nothing, why I don't recommend it. And since the topic of movement speed came up, I tested it myself, and movement speed and ADS movement speed are correlated. When we make the movement speed bad, the strafing speed also becomes bad, something to take a note of. However, I do recommend the other barrels. The Special Forces barrel helps reduce 2 frames ADS speed, thus the new ADS speed becomes 433 milliseconds, which isn't a huge increase but can be used if needed. The Infantry barrel makes the ADS speed slower by 3 frames, but we get better bullet spread accuracy, and the new 4-shot range becomes 0 to 13 meters and the 5-shot range becomes 14 to 43 meters. I'm gonna apply the Infantry barrel since the base ADS speed is already slow, and I don't mind it being a couple frames slower. But we do get accuracy at range and also extend the damage done at range. Otherwise, generally, I'll recommend using the Special Forces barrel. Next, apply the Tactical Laser for improving the ADS speed by 2 frames and increasing the accuracy at range. The only other laser I can recommend is the 5MW laser since the others reduce the ADS speed, which isn't needed. Now, if you're considering using an extended ammo attachment, it isn't needed since we get 100 bullets in the base mag, which is enough. However, for the sake of completeness, the base reload animation takes 4.6 seconds for the full animation, and we can make it 3.4 seconds by reload cancelling. The rest of the stats, I'll have it on the screen now as an infographic, so you can pause the video and compare them if needed. Nonetheless, I don't recommend using extended ammo since the base ammo is more than enough. Thus, we are left with muzzle and perk, and for the perk, I recommend using FMJ, which really helps LMGs get the wallbang kills. For the muzzle, I recommend the compensator or the muzzle brake for getting some recoil stability. Otherwise, if you want a suppressed chopper, then the light suppressor can be used since the 5-shot range is huge and the 20% decrease in damage range won't hurt as much. The monolithic suppressor can also be used, but for this build, I use the flash card mainly for getting the bullet spread accuracy, since with this build I was focusing on accuracy and I want to be deadly accurate with it. For an alternate build with the monolithic suppressor, the Special Forces barrel can be used, and for recoil and ADS speed based build, the compensator and the Special Forces barrel can be applied. With the heavy handle, there aren't too many options you can use, so mess around with the attachments and see what you prefer. For a build without the heavy handle, you can opt for the operator foregrip for 14% reduction in vertical recoil, although I don't suggest it since the recoil pattern is really simple. You can make an ADS speed based build with these attachments or even a Hipfire build with the 5MW laser and the Merc foregrip combination. For a general build with some recoil control, these attachments can be used, and we are done. I have shown a couple chopper builds and I hope you can find them helpful, and I hope one of them becomes your main chopper build. Chopper is not only good for multiplayer, but it shreds in Battle Royale as well. And you can use any chopper class you're comfortable with. I generally use the accuracy class or the suppressed class in BR. It's good and it shreds. Just get into the habit of switching to knife for running fast and we are golden. And with that, we come to the end of the video. I have tried using the chopper for close ranges, but I usually lose out due to the slow ADS speed of it. We can make a Hipfire build and spray and pray while ADSing in, so we can go from Hipfire to ADS, but there are still chances a good player will outgun us, thus it's really unpredictable for close ranges. For the mid ranges though, it's cracked, and definitely the LMG meta. Hopefully you liked this elaborate gunsmith discussion, and if you did, definitely leave a like and subscribe and press the bell icon to get these gunsmith videos in your notifications, so you don't miss out on my future gunsmith videos. Share this video around to support the channel and for appreciating my work. I will see you again soon with a new gunsmith video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a good day. Take care guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Reloading. Contact with enemy. I'm down. Need backup.